Hello darlings, how are you? Well, I'm out in the countryside today. I thought I'd do a video out in the country. So today I'm going to talk about this expression. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So when I lived in Morocco, when I moved to Morocco, I had to learn a whole new set of cultural norms. And that was quite difficult, learning cultural norms. And I remember once I got invited to a wedding. And so I went there and I was seated with the foreigners, I remember, at a table full of foreigners. And it was very nice, very posh wedding. And the dish came onto the table, the food, they served the food, and it was tagine. I don't know if you tried Moroccan tagine, but it's very sweet, full of raisins, and it's beautiful. So I did what every good British person would do, and I filled myself up with the tagine to about 95%. Why do we fill ourselves up to 95%? Because you've got to leave room for pudding. You can't fill yourself up, you've got to leave room for pudding. But however, we do have another expression, which is there's always room for pudding, isn't there? There's always room for pudding. And especially if it's ice cream, because ice cream melts in your mouth, so it's not really classed as eating, it's more like drinking. So anyway, I filled myself up to 95% and was feeling very happy and waiting for the pudding to come. And the waiters came and they whisked away the plate with the top tablecloth. They took the whole thing away with them, leaving behind another tablecloth, another clean, pristine tablecloth. I thought, oh, that's interesting, isn't it? And then the next dish came, which was another big dish, a Moroccan couscous or something of that nature. And I thought, oh hell, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm nearly full. So, but, you know, we had to show true British strength, and so I started eating that, thinking, oh well, you know, I'll have to just forgo the pudding. And then we finished the couscous, and the waiters came and they whisked that away with the tablecloth. And it was at that point I realised that, hang on a minute, if I count the tablecloths, then I might know how many more dishes were coming. Much to my horror, as I reached underneath, I discovered there were three more tablecloths. And so there were 3 more dishes to come. And sure enough, the next dish was half of a roast lamb. Half a roast lamb. Now, they never serve the best dishes first in Morocco. You have to wait and pace yourself. I didn't know that. And I've got to say that it was the best roast lamb I have ever eaten in my natch. It was absolutely delicious. However, I was already full, and so I had to push myself and get to what you call the footballer's stomach, which is 110% full. Footballers are always talking about giving it 110%, and I ate to probably about 120%. I still forced down a little bit of dessert, but I'd never been so full. I've never been so full in my entire life as I was that night. I went home, lay on the bed, and I remember I didn't sleep the entire night. I just lay there feeling sorry for myself and wishing I was bulimic. So, why am I telling you this story? Well, after that, at every special event, I counted the tablecloths before we started. So I knew how to pace myself. So I never went mad on the first dish, even though it was delicious and I was really hungry. No, wait for the roast lamb. That's what I used to say, wait for the roast lamb. So we are in the same place now. We keep seeing the same patterns running. We hear politicians making promises. And we can either believe it, even though every single time that they've ever made a promise, they haven't fulfilled it. Except for one politician, which you know who that is. Except for one politician in the US, and except for one politician in the UK, which is he's a nice man. But generally, politicians, their word is worth nothing. I'll give you another metaphor, that of something that used to happen to me in Morocco. In Morocco, they drive very badly. And when I say badly, that's the biggest understatement that you could possibly say. In Morocco, when you step onto the road in a car or as a pedestrian, you take your life in your hands. There are no rules, it's just every man for himself and woman. And when I used to park in every street in Rabat, there was a little man who would watch the cars. And that was his job, to watch the cars. It wasn't official, he just plonked himself there and he would watch the cars, and then when you came, you would give him some money for watching your car. Did he watch the cars? I don't think so. Did he do anything of value that would add anything to the parking? No. He was just there. I think we paid him just for standing, you know, for having the kind of the strength to spend the whole day standing in the street. But they would help you park. That was the job. They would help you park. But the parking was interesting. You know, there was always a lack of parking in Rabat. It was always difficult. But they would find you a space. And it didn't matter that the space wasn't big enough for your car. It wouldn't matter. They would say, come on, no, come on, you can do it. And they would signal you in. And what they would do is they would do what's called touch parking. So they would go, zid, 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 go, zid, 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 zid. And they would keep telling you to come back like this, zid, 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 zid. And then you would hit the car behind you. And as you hit the car, they would say, baraka, baraka, okay, which is stop. And then they would pull you forward as well, and you would, until you hit the car, zid, 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 baraka, baraka, but you would have hit the car. And I used to think, I could do that, because I know that I can't go any further because I've just hit the car behind me and the car in front of me. But for them, it seemed to be that they thought that they were helping, when in fact, I'm not entirely sure what they were doing, but they were earning money, at least. You know, you would give them, I don't know, 20, I don't know, the shrapnel, I can't even remember what the shrapnel was called, but it was dirham. But you would give him like half a dirham or something like that. And he was happy as Larry. And the cars were in shit condition. It was, if you could find a Moroccan car that didn't have a scratched bumper, then it was, you know, it was like finding the gold at the end of a rainbow. It didn't exist. And that's what I think that the politicians do. That's their job. They're the car watchers. And they help us to park, but they don't really help us. And we crash. They just guide us into crashes. And then they expect to be paid for it. I suppose that's the best metaphor. They guide us into accidents, or they create them, and then they ask us to pay for them. So, really, my life in Morocco was a precursor to my life in the real world. Now I count the tablecloths, and now I don't trust when somebody says zid, zid, zid. I would rather check myself. So there you are. That's my stories of Morocco. What a beautiful countryside I live in. Look, the sky is cloudy. It has been for a few days, but it is line free today. Only today, and I've learned to say it's line free. In fact, I've learned to say it's line free at the moment, because even sometimes you say the words, they leave your mouth, and then zzz, some little bastard goes flying by, leaving behind their little trails. But today, nice. However, it's not summer. This is not summer. I should be walking along here sweating my cobs off, and I'm not. It is very chilly. So I wonder if are we going into an ice age or what? You know, I wonder if we are, because everything is cooling down, isn't it? And I don't know whether they're capable of making everything cool down, or whether they're trying to, I don't know. Who knows? It's a mystery, isn't it? So just keep counting the tablecloths and keep touch parking, and we'll be rock and roll.